Hi, I'm Steve Hall. Welcome to the Online Prosperity Show, where I'm going to be talking about the game changer and the game changer experience, how you too can create a winning mindset for yourself. You can change the game you're playing. You can craft a meaningful life for yourself without changing anything except yourself.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show. I'm your host, Prosper Taruvinga, and today's guest promises to be a game changer in every sense of the word. Now, Steve, welcome back to the show, my man.
Thanks so much, Prosper. It really is my pleasure to be here again. You've already had me laughing so good.
Well, we're about to change the game, Steve, and so many people just go through life, without actually shifting perspective or who they are or who they could be. So I think today's episode is going to do just that for a few people. And for those that are watching right now, get ready for a roller coaster of wisdom, wit, and a whole lot of inspiration. I mean, our guest has a story that will make you laugh, cry, and most importantly, think. But we're not here for a lot of that stuff. We're here to help you change the game. So buckle up and let's dive into what might be, I think, the best episode we've done together, Steve.
Well, let's hope so. Let's give it a go.
Absolutely. Because the first one, we were just hearing about you and everything else, and everybody's all about themselves. But for those at the back of the room that didn't catch the first episode, and I'm going to link that to the show notes of this episode, just in one sentence, give us a glimpse into your life and what it means for you to be a game changer.
Wow. Well, I call it a game changer for a reason, because I had a 40-year career, Prosper, in corporate, and I was married, 4 kids. Everything was fine, but I lost all that. My life was turned upside down by a series of disastrous events. I had to reinvent who I was, and that's when I was coached myself. And that coaching was the start, the forebearer of my journey from then until now. From the year 2000 until now, I've gone through massive change. I've actually changed the game that I've been playing.
Fantastic. Steve, when you're talking about that, if I hadn't heard your story before, what you just said sounds like something out of a movie. Is it just you that goes through things like this, or pretty much a lot of people encounter these things? Because sometimes people just say, nah, it's supposed to be like this. It is what it is.
Yeah. Look, I couldn't say whether everyone does or not, but from my experience, everyone does, because I work with a lot of people who are living it. Like a lot of us, it's in varying degrees. Like some people, I think it was Henry David Thoreau said, most men live lives of quiet desperation. So some people are suffering quietly on their own, but some people that, like me, it was catastrophic and, you really need help. I remember being like a zombie myself, one foot in front of the other, and that was for years that I was like that. So I really needed help, and I got it, and it changed my life. But yeah, look, some people weather it stoically. You wouldn't really know what's going on underneath sometimes.
Fantastic. Now, you obviously, the person I'm speaking to right now is not that person that you're trying to describe, because I cannot envision it. Now, you have gained for yourself a winning mindset, and you have a strategy to go with it, that actually works in every situation. Spill the beans.
Look, thank you so much, Prosper, because look, every day I seem to get more and more excited about what I do and what it means and how it changes the game for people. Because what I call it, or how I think of it, is like I take people beyond belief, because what I see and what I learned from my own life was I thought I was living the life that I wanted and I was doing quite well, successful, etc. But it wasn't. It wasn't until all that was taken away again and again and again, and I had to reestablish, my own journey. And so what I do with people now is I take them beyond their own belief, because our life is made up on what we believe. We don't come into life with beliefs. We learn beliefs. In the first 5 to 7 years, we establish the foundations for what we're going to believe for the rest of our life, really. And we use that to figure our way forward. So it's important that we have a look beyond that we go back before our beliefs were established, because a lot of people don't realize that they're following or they're competing in life according to what they believe. They've never really stopped and figured out, what is the ultimate destiny that I want if I was going to design it? How do I want to live my life? And in actual fact, who am I? If I'm not these beliefs and these thoughts, who am I? And that scares some people, when they're given the opportunity to really figure out who they are. It's a bit scary because, unconsciously they're thinking, who is this person? I don't know who it is or who I would be if I change. It can be a bit daunting, but I tell you what, when they experience it, when they get the evidence of who they can be and what that feels like, it really is a game changer. They don't want to unlearn it. They don't want to let it go once they've experienced it. So the game changer is about giving people the evidence of what they need so they can believe who they are and actually take it on board.
Fantastic. So many people might be in denial, and denial is usually the first stage of trying to alleviate anything. So many people don't quite know what they're going through and things of that nature, and they might just think, it's I inherited this, it's in the genes. Could be with their health or whatever it is. It's my granddad was like this or whatever it is, but there's something that sort of, for lack of a better term, flattened the curve. And it actually really, really leveled the playing field. The pandemic. A lot of us were told our jobs were non-essential. So maybe let's start from there. How can the game changers start to alleviate somebody who's thinking, wait a minute, there's got to be more. I'm made for more. I'm not going to a job that nobody needed me for 2 years and still pretend that everything is okay.
Yeah, great question. And that really was an opportunity for all of us to reassess where we're at. And some people, pivoted and all this sort of stuff and found a new way. And actually, once they got started, they discovered that they liked the different way. How many people now don't want to commute to work anymore? They want to continue to work from home. They found things that they liked about it because they got evidence, because they were forced to. It was a bit like my story. So it's really a great question, because what I challenge people with is to value what they're doing, reassess what they're doing. Are you coming to a job, say I don't know, it might be a menial job. Maybe you're just sweeping the floor out in the back of a loading dock somewhere, or maybe you're the CEO of a company, but it doesn't really matter what it is. But if you're going there and you think, I have to go to work, you're really already pushing into resistance, into stress. You're following a belief that you need to be better than what you actually are, and you've got to make a difference. You've got to persevere. You've got to work hard, and you go. But what I challenge people is to reevaluate what that work means to them. Is it a means to an end? Can they connect the value of that work with where they really want to go? And if they can, all of a sudden, sweeping out the loading bay, they can find some satisfaction in doing it really well. Or they can realize the difference they're making. What would that place be like if they didn't do that? Or they might decide, this isn't who I am as well. Maybe I want to change that to something more inspirational, where I can really be who I am, bring my strengths and what I value in life, what I've learned about myself. I can bring that and release it. If you can't bring that and release the stuff that's really important to you in your workplace or your family every day, that's when there's something that you need to address and consider changing. That's when you're playing the wrong game. So it's all about valuing what you do, I guess. You don't have to change everything, but you have to change who you're being and how you're seeing everything, the meaning you're putting on everything, Prosper.
Fantastic, because right now, both you and I are working, and this is a standard that we've chosen for ourselves, which entails us to constantly be showcasing the work that we do and connecting with other people and, helping each other in the process. So I deliberately used the word standard there. In week 1 of the Game Changers, 8-week program, the first thing that you guys start looking at is standards, attitude, and commitment. Yeah. What is that?
Well, it looks so important. Again, it's the way we've been, I call it programmed, call it what you like, but it's the way that we end up being who we're being right now. The life we go through, society affects us and everything. So some people come along and they go, yeah, this is what I want. It sounds great. I want to change who I am. I want all this stuff. but they're still waiting for someone to lead them, and show them the way, and almost sometimes do it for them. So the first thing I have to establish is, are you really committed? And if they say, yes, I'm committed, I go, right, because you're going to be challenged. You've got to open yourself up. If you expect me to do that for you because you've joined the program, well, it doesn't work that way. I will lead you. I'll walk with you. I've got you. I'm here to support you. But I call it's like climbing Mount Everest with a Sherpa. The Sherpa will carry your bags, but he won't carry you up to the top, will he? You need to do that. I'll be the Sherpa. I'll carry the bags. I'll show you the way, but you got to do the climbing. So yeah, the commitment is really big, but then the standards, how are we going to show up? What are we going to expect of ourselves? What level of accountability are we going to hold ourselves to? How committed are we? Are we going to self-monitor that, or am I going to wait for Steve to pull me up all the time? So establish why they're there and why this is important, and really get them clear on, I'm going to do whatever it takes, because first of all, I reassure them everything that they're going to be faced with doing is in their power. They can do it. They just have to have the commitment. That's all. So does that answer the question where you're coming from?
Oh, absolutely. Because obviously a lot of people just have had life, rolling through the way it's always been. They've never really checked what are their standards. What do they actually want out of this life? And what is it exactly? What does it look like when they've actually, arrived there? Because one of the big tests that a lot of people have is, can they go on holiday instantly? Half of the time, a lot of people cannot do that. One, work. Two, they have to sort out a lot of things. And three, first of all, they don't even know where to go if somebody would say, hey, let's just go. You know what I mean? Because they don't know what their standards are. They don't know what the destination actually looks like. And maybe they haven't actually asked themselves the right questions of, who am I? What am I supposed to be doing in this world? And, finding the gaps. But you covered that in week 2, right? I mean, I don't know if this is a stupid question, but what are those questions that actually help people to change their life?
Well, look, I just want to go back to what you're talking about with the standards and commitment, and then building up with what you've just asked then, because it's all connected. A lot of people hear me talking about standards and commitment and all this sort of stuff, and it sounds very disciplined and very, wow, there's a standard here, and can be a little bit daunting in itself. But Mary O'Malley, I think, wrote the book, Whatever's in the Way is the Way, because I've introduced this stuff first off because I expect that they're going to bump into themselves along the way. They're going to find out that their commitment wasn't what they thought it was, because they don't really know who they're being until they're given a chance to test it out. And their commitment won't be what it needs to be, or else they possibly would have already changed their life. And their standards were probably lower than they realized, or not in alignment with where they want to go ultimately. So it's like all this stuff, they'll get confronted with it, which is exactly what you want, because we need all that to happen inside the program so that you can, I thought that I was good in that area. Wow, I can see now what I'm really like. It's all about getting different perspective. From the inside, we feel our way. We imagine ourselves to be different to what other people are seeing us do. So it's really important that you commit to this and you enter, and you give yourself a chance to fail and find out. That's exactly what we want. We want success and failure in this.
Wow. It sounds to me like you're literally holding a mirror in front of them and saying, hey, don't ignore this. This is you.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, that's the commitment, is really making a commitment to yourself. It's like watching a horror movie. You're going to watch it even when you get scared, and right until the end when everything's all right again. It's just hang on to challenge yourself to be surprised with what you see sometimes, but it's a happy ending every single time if you go on the journey, which is what it is.
Wow. And once somebody sees that mirror in front of them, they can literally see if they've been telling the right story or not the right story, the way they look, the way their posture, the way they can focus.
Every week, Prosper, we go through the game changer to see where they're at still and show how they're changing as they go through it. And they continue to do that as long as they want, forever after that. You can see how you're tracking in every aspect of your life that's important to you. You can measure how you're going. So it shines a light on where you're at. More importantly, though, and I make this clear right from the start, the biggest thing standing in your way, pushing against you with equal, always probably with a little bit more force than what you're pushing it with, is yourself. Like when you said holding a mirror up, that's exactly what it is. It's the person you see in the mirror that is your obstacle. That whatever's in the way is the way. Well, what's in the way is yourself. Your life is the same as everybody else's. It's you that needs to be different. You need to change the game you're playing. And then it's not like I teach people how to suddenly get the energy and be strong or what to overcome everything that's in their way. It's like understanding what's in your way and pretty much understanding why it's there and what it's protecting you from and getting it to align with you and support you. And it just steps to your side and you go together forward. So it's not energizing you to overcome fear or overpower obstacles and crush them and smash them and all that sort of stuff. I'd say it's taking the path of least resistance, which is having faith in who you really are, all of who you really are, and using love and respect for that and everyone else in life to go together in the one direction without resistance or stress. It is possible, and it is the game-changing way to go the path of least resistance.
But normally when standards are raised, you start noticing that maybe the things that you value are not the right things, or the things that you used to value have changed.
Results will tell you what you value. You can't lie. I say that reality is, the truth rather, is 100% of reality. And what you need is to look at the results you're getting in reality and what are they telling you about you, not what do you believe. Like I was mentioning before, what we believe is based on what we were taught when we were young, and we build on that. So it's like, let's have a look at your results. Let's have a look at reality and see what that's telling us. And it's like being open and holding the commitment to look at it honestly and allow yourself to experience more of the truth. And that's why I say live your truth and live it well. It's like, let's have a look at reality and let's see what that's telling us rather than what we want to believe is right. If that makes sense. I'm not sure if I've lost you.
Oh, no, absolutely. Because so many people just latch onto something just because it's easy or it's always been like that. And then they don't really align themselves to the truth. And the truth really will set you free. All right.
They say that. Yeah.
But then we go to week number 5, which a lot of people sort of look at as, I don't know if this is business or personal, because you start looking at somebody's vision and somebody's sort of mission. Now, could you maybe elaborate why this is an important facet and why at week 5?
Yeah, well, because I get out of the way, the preparation and the standards and assessing where people are at and all that to really give them a picture of their reality. So instead of diving in right at the beginning and sort of confusing them a bit and going backwards, I like getting that out of the way first. And then we work on, it's very important. A lot of people come to me, they say their life has no direction. They feel stuck. In actual fact, they've got so many opportunities and choices that they're overwhelmed with choice and they don't know which way to go. So they are stuck. So in order to get a direction, to find your way forwards in one way, so you can let go of all the energy you're expending looking at all the potential possibilities which could be in other directions, you need to figure out who you really are. And that's why I say it's important to go beyond belief when we do that, not just who do you believe you are, but who are you really? And then if you had a chance to design your ultimate future, what would it look like and where would it be? And when they set that in their mind, they have 2 poles set in the ground, which creates a direction to travel between. And that gives them direction. Everything else falls into place once they've got that established. Then they can see the goals along the way that they need to do to get there. I say the vision is a bit like water skiing, and it's like following a water skiing boat. The boat is your vision. And when you're water skiing, it's like you're no longer just floating along in a river wherever it wants to take you. You are skiing on top of the river of life, right? You're experiencing an adventure, but you never actually catch up to the motorboat, to the ski boat, right? You're following it. So as you follow the boat, you go wherever you want, you're having heaps of fun, and you go past all these goals along the way. When you finally get to the vision at the end, that's the end of your life, right? So you never really actually get there and go, my job's done. I say to a lot of people who are thinking of retirement as a chance to experience freedom and stop, having a purpose in life, really. They just want to do what they want to do. I say, that's sort of like your vision. You need to extend your vision way to the end of your days. Your retirement is a goal. Let's make your life meaningful all the way through. So, that's why it's important in week 5, that we look at what is your vision, and let's bring your values and who you're really being and who you want to be to the table, and let's create that path. And that's everything else is just falls into place on top of that. We create the highway, I guess, for people to travel on.
I like that, because you can't hit a target that you can't see. And
Yeah.
if you're going somewhere, like if you were to come over to my house for this interview, the address that you would put is the address of where you're going to, not the address of where you are, because where you are, the GPS already knows, and it then needs to navigate backwards so that it can actually start seeing how or what's the easiest route. But along the way, you're going to come across detours, you're going to come across certain humps, road works. This is Victoria I'm talking about. Every road has to have somebody working. And in week number 6, you have something that goes with perspectives, the drama triage, and the trust me model. Could you just maybe walk us through all of those? Are those the speed bumps, the detours that I was referring to earlier?
Yeah, look, I go way deeper than those models, but they're really good. They're standard ones that help give people perspective on, how their beliefs have formed their life. The drama triangle is particularly good at that, and how it's like to step away, to go beyond belief. You need to step out of the triangle and become the observer, which is the moral of the drama triangle story. And it's like to see who you're being, where you're being a victim, where you're being, a persecutor to other people, where you're a hero running around trying to get recognition by helping other people and not really working on your own life. So it's once you get the concept of this, we take that, we extrapolate it, and we wring every drop of knowledge and truth out of it. We take that further forwards, because to be a real observer is being able to give more of yourself to other people. That's when, as a father or as a CEO of a company, whenever you are in a position where people are relying on you to perform and to be your best, it's really important that you're an observer and you don't disempower them by doing things for them or rushing in if they're in a drama of some sort. You need to understand, and the most powerful question you can ask someone is, how do you want it to be? And then if they can tell you how they imagine what they really want to be like, you say, well, how can I help you with that? How can I best support you with that? And that is what I look at my time as a dad. If I could do that again, if I could go back when my kids were growing up and sit with them and say, how do you want to do that? And how can I support you? I was full of advice, Prosper. I just wanted my kids to have an easy run. So I'd advise them all the time, give them best advice. And if they didn't take it, which they wouldn't, because they follow what we do, not what we say. But when they didn't do it, I'd say, I told you not to do that. Can't you see what would happen? And it did happen, or whatever. And you get all stressed and frustrated as a father when your kids aren't listening. It's because you really need to sit with them and empower them to make their own decisions and ask them how they want to do it and support them with that. And they go, wow, someone really cared about who I was being and what I thought. And they're there to support me. Go them. I feel great. I feel like I'm of value. And you can do that with your wife, with your kids, with your colleagues, anyone. So being the observer is extremely important. And the trust me model, to get through to that, takes people through the natural progressions in life. It's like a ladder we climb up. You can't skip a step. You have to go through this sequence to get to where you want to ultimately be, to evolve and to become all you can be. But along the way, I say probably the most important bit for people who come into my program, it's understanding their uniqueness first, and then how they fit in with systems and support. So it's like tapping into other people. And it's probably the key to the whole of everything that I do, is to be able to respect other people, that everyone on this planet is of equal value. And once you get that, it's like, well, that means there's no one really better than me or worse than me. All of my life, I've put people on pedestals or thrown them in a pit so that either I feel better or I've got a hero to follow. But when you realize that everyone's of equal value, it's a game changer. It neutralizes everyone. Then you realize that you are equally capable of success, but you're equally capable of failure or making a mistake as well. So it opens you up to the truth of reality, Prosper, to 100% of who you are and what you're capable of, good and bad. And so the Trust Me models are all about, I really need more people to have a successful, meaningful, rewarding life. I need to get over what's in my way. What's caused me to withdraw from people and hide myself away and become recluse? Why am I hiding myself away? What am I fearful of? Because fear is the opposite of what we teach here. Fear is present. It's below the line, and it'll sidetrack you every single time. So it's like, and you can learn to be the observer who you truly are. Fear disappears. You don't have to conquer it. Conquering a fear is like meeting resistance with resistance, and you're trying to overcome something below the line with something else that's below the line. So it's like, take a deep breath, allow yourself to feel safe and secure, and then have faith in who you are and who you can be and what you really want, and just figure out, well, what are we going to do? And that's what I teach in the Game Changer. How do you approach problems to break them down without engaging resistance or stress?
There's a collaborative sort of approach to this, because as you are working with them, they're also putting the screws together. So the Game Changer,
it's got to be collaborative, because I don't change anyone's life. I help them. They've got to understand it, and they got to rise to the challenge and use it and put it into practice. And that's what I say. It's like, that commitment to keep doing, and whether it's failure or success, whatever happens, they want results. So you can go look at the result. It's like I was saying, the observer will say, well, how do you want it to be? How can I support you? So I'll be their observer through all that. It's very collaborative.
Absolutely. And this then obviously makes it super easy for you to then help them reverse engineer what their destination is going to look like, and avoid any sort of obstacles, which is what you guys do in week 7. I suppose you should actually give them a chair, an IKEA chair, to put together by themselves, because this is exactly what you would have done with them, because with the instructions, they already know exactly what the end product is going to look like. They just reverse engineer every step and what the first step would be.
Yeah, look, I love exactly where you're going with that, and that's what we do. It is about reverse engineering. You've got to stop wondering about what you didn't like in your past, that your memory is reminding you of, that pulls you down. It's like, all right, forget about that. What do I really want, and how would I design it? And then, well, how do I look back to where I'm at now? What do I have to do to get there? But here's the thing, we talked about it earlier, the biggest obstacle in your way, and whatever is in your way is the way. But the biggest obstacle will be themselves. So they're going to have to face clearing out some obstacles, some trauma, some beliefs that they're not going to be able to shape consciously just because they want to. We're going to have to go there, and we do that. And that's what week 7's about. It's about, let's look at what's in your way as well. What are you encountering? And everyone will encounter something different, but you'll all encounter something. And it's like, let's find out what that invisible force is that's been stopping you from change, because we all want change. We go through crap in our life, Prosper, and we're trying hard all the time to make it better. But the more we try, the worse it gets. And that's because we're pushing back. Something invisible is holding you back from being all you can be, because ultimately we're a little bit scared unconsciously of, what if I am who all I can be? And what if I don't like it, or I fail at that? And that's a big, I think it's, Marianne Williamson says, it's not the darkness we fear, but it's our light. And I see that, I've even felt it and still do. When we've got a chance to step up and be all we can be, it's a little bit intimidating. We can hold ourselves back because we're uncertain of that. We're good at being safe and secure, even though we don't really like the way it feels. But we don't really know what to expect when we finally can be all ourselves. And that's why the Game Changer is important, to do it in a group of people group of like-minded people, so you can be all you can be and feel what it's like, and have people honor that. You know, you're really safe hands and a safe place. You get to experience what it's like being all you can be, and it's a life-changing event.
But so many people had to end up in emergency, because somebody would have told them to just drink a milkshake of cement just to harden up. And, that's how they've always been told to be. And they never really went through all this stuff, it's just a blend.
Exactly. The biggest gift I ever got was having my life torn to shreds, and every time I tried to put it back together, it was torn to shreds again, and that was so painful. And I wondered why. I'm trying so hard to just be a normal, good person. I would have settled for mediocrity or less, because I had less, by the end of what I went through. But it's like I look at it in my mind like maybe, in our life, it's like we're all lined up to start a race. We don't know why we're racing, but we go, yes. And we've got this conditioning inside ourselves. We want to compete. So as soon as the runners, once the starting pistol goes off and we start running, we see other people catching up. So we want to run faster. And then they catch up and we run faster. It's like we keep comparing ourselves and wanting to stay in front. And it's sort of like we don't know other way because we love to compete. But you compete too long and you run out of energy, and it's like you'll wear yourself out comparing yourself to other people as well. And it's like no one really stops and goes, what's this race all about? Did anyone ask me if I wanted to race? What are my options? What if I didn't even start when the pistol went off? What if I stopped and just thought, do I want to go in this race? What's in it for me? Is this the way I want to go? We don't. So you're so right, Prosper. It's like we're putting all this effort in, and we do just try and drink cement and harden up and get over things. And that serves us in a lot of ways. It's like we are very resilient creatures. If at first we don't succeed, we try again. But that's also our Achilles heel, because I think it was Einstein, I love it. He said, if the definition of insanity, it's like doing the same thing twice and expecting a different result. But when we try harder and persevere, that's what we're doing. We're just trying harder, the same thing. We need to go back beyond our beliefs that are just trying harder to be more successful, like we were taught to be, like we think we should be, and realize who we actually are and accept that. Acceptance is a huge word in what I do. When you can accept all of who you are, the potential of what you can do without resistance, without fear, is incredible. It really is liberating.
But Steve, things like this, maybe it only works for people like yourself. I've got bills. I've got mouths to feed. I've got kids. Who has 8 weeks?
Well, I was lucky that my life was destroyed, so I had no choice, because exactly that I would have found excuse after excuse after excuse. And we think that they're all good reasons, but actually it's our unconscious going, you don't really deserve to be who you think you can be. Because in life, we were taught every time we tried to be who we really are, people put us down. The bullies in the schoolyard beat us up. The teachers told us we weren't good enough to be top of the class. We were always corrected and improved and shaped, because we're always expected to, like a competitor or an athlete, get better all the time, keep winning. We weren't taught how to just be ourselves and acknowledge for who we are and the special skills we all come into this life with, because we've all got something unique to give. You've got to find out what that is and do it in your own way without trying to be like the competition. Competition is great if that's that's the special talent you got. But what if you got something different to running to deliver? What if you're not a runner or an athlete? What if you just want to do something completely different that the planet needs? You need to figure out what that is and do it that way.
No, Steve, it all sounds well and truly good. Does this actually work on humans? Because the guys that I work with, or the people I'm always at the pub with,
it has. I've done it with over, near on 100 people now. And look, I just remember the first 2 times I took it through privately, the first couple of groups. It wasn't meant to be like a career-changing event, but every single person who joined changed their careers before they finished. And it was like I was trying to get them to see that where they work and how they live is a choice, and to value it. If they can link their values, what they're doing, to where they're going, you don't need to change anything. But people get excited, and sometimes they make the decisions when they see, who they can really be and how it was the meaning they were putting on things that was preventing them from trying to put themselves equal to everyone else. Like this thing about being of equal value, it's like, you're as important as everyone else. Stop using the excuses. You can't afford it. You got a mortgage. Your kids need you, blah, blah, blah. That's just saying everything else is more important than you. You are more important in your kids' life to show them, because they won't do what you tell them, and they won't realize how hard you're working at work when you're working back. You need to show them that they matter by being all you can be, by showing them how to be successful, show them how to live your dream, to live your truth, so that they can live theirs, because they'll copy what you do. So it's really important that, yes, you can do it. Anyone can do it. I was never anything special in my life. I felt special, and I feel like I'm doing something special now, but most of my life I just felt really ordinary. And I think if I can do that, anyone can. But I'm very respectful to the fact that I wouldn't have done this myself if my life hadn't have been changed for me. But what I see, Prosper, is, like you asked right in the beginning, most people have got something they're going through in their life that's causing them to go, I can't keep this up. And they come to me and they go, I really need to change, and it's like, hallelujah, let's get you going. And if they come along and they say, my life's not too bad, can I just do this because I want to? I say, you can, but let's have a look at your commitment to it. Do you really want to do it? And that's all they need to bring. If they go, I absolutely want to, or I absolutely need to, either will do, I'm with you.
Fantastic. All right. Okay. You've twisted my hand. Excuses only sound best to the person that's saying them. Now, how do we get a winning mindset and use it powerfully?
I would say to get a winning mindset, you have to be prepared to look at the truth. And that's 100% of reality. Bring your commitment to that. Don't try and protect the answers that you've got. And I say beliefs are just answers, put into a group. Every time we get an answer, it's sort of like something we need to defend. We go, that's the answer. That's right and wrong now. And you'll start judging other people. When you're judging other people for being right or wrong according to what you believe, already you're below the line. It's like, open yourself up to everything that everyone else believes, whether you agree with it or not. It doesn't matter. It's like, start asking more questions so that you can get a bigger handle on what reality is. That's what you really want. You want to see how you're going in reality and what your results are in reality, not according to the very narrow picture of the world you have in our beliefs. It's not that anyone's doing anything wrong. It's like, but we can do better. We can really release ourselves. We can really liberate and have a meaningful, enjoyable life, such as you've never experienced before, if you just, step out into beyond your belief.
Oh, so do I have to wait until 8 weeks, or can I just get started at any point? What's the cohort situation, and what does it entail?
Look, people do what get coaching with me one-on-one. People who can't fit into a schedule, or they're a bit intimidated by a group. But I'd say that's all very well. But sooner or later, I think the best way forward that I would encourage everyone to go, because if it challenges you to be in a group, that's exactly what you want, because it's in your way. And whatever's in the way is the way. There's a lesson for you there that you need to discover. But I'd say join the group. We run them, the next one, oh, geez, you've got me now. The next one starts in a few days, so it's not too late to join. But if that one's no good for you, then you can rock up to the next one. You don't have to do them consecutive anymore either. I say to people, if you can't commit to 8 weeks in sequence because maybe you've got something you have to do, a holiday or a job or something that's going to get in the way, do 4 weeks in this group, and then we'll take you can join another group later on. So you can, over the course of a year, jump into other groups to finish, because you're all one big community in there anyway. So I'd say get started, book into the next group that I've got running, and start changing your life. You deserve it.
Fantastic. And how does that happen? How do I get started? Where do I click? What do I do?
Right. Book a discovery call with me through my calendar. So it's www.thegamechanger.calendar/au. No,
Absolutely.
au/.
I'll make sure I'll make
I've
sure.
got it. I've sent it to you, Prosper. I think you're going to have to check that, and you can post it hopefully. But DM me. Look me up, the Game Changer or Steve Hall on Facebook, or just contact me directly through this program.
Fantastic. All right, I'll make sure those links are in the show notes there.
Thank you.
And hopefully a few people would sort of get started with us. But what happens after the 8 weeks, Steve? Like, are we just gonna come around, sing Kumbaya, and then I go back to the way things will always be? Because the reason why things haven't changed is because of my environment.
Yeah. Good question. Thank you for that. And just had me laughing though, because I was trying to remember the last time I sang Kumbaya. I don't think I ever have. But yeah, the 8 weeks, it doesn't stop there, because people want to. I stand with them, like I support them. I become the observer. They've got the program, they've got the workbook, they got, I call it a playbook actually, but they go through the program. But I know they're going to still bump into themselves. There are old ways they're going to still challenge them. So they've got access to 6 months of a Facebook community that they rock up every month on the first Sunday of every month, and they spend another 2 hours with me. They can jump in a hot seat, or we do questions and answers, and I do some mentoring as well during those calls, or they can continue to get one-on-one coaching after that. But at the same point, I'm also got a follow-up that I'm excited to be running this year, Prosper, and that's a Game Changer experience, where I give people the evidence of living the Game Changer program with me over 6 days. So we go away and it's a retreat, it's workshops, it's bike riding, it's gourmet experiences, it's meditation, and a whole lot more. But they actually experience what it's like to live 6 days consecutively just doing the do, because a lot of us still are not prepared to admit that we can do this. And so when they go away and they get the evidence they can do it, they come back and they'll never change. They'll never be the same again, in a good way. So that's where we're going with this. It's not the end. The Game Changer is not the end. It's the beginning of a lifelong change, and you can keep it going as many times or as long as you want.
Fantastic. I think what you're offering is something remarkable, because once somebody has the knowledge and then they actually go in and apply it, that really creates new neural patterns that will actually create and formulate the habits.
Absolutely. And I take that into account, because the study of neuroscience that I've done is exactly that. You've got all good intentions. You go away, you do a course, you're motivated, you're hyped up, you think you can do it, you work out the programs, and then the second the phone rings and the boss calls and everything, it's like a giant switch sometimes has been switched into people, and they go, okay, I'll get back to that later. And they stop living it. And it's like, no, it's meant to be. Your life has now become all you can be. You're still doing what you used to do, but you've got this as well. So it's important that we don't just leave people there, that they can come and check in, and we go, what have you been experiencing? What results are you getting? And they still got the Game Changer program, so they can measure their results and go, I can see that I'm pulling back, or what's going on, what's in my way, and they're not on their own ever again.
Fantastic. Wow. I think it's time to change the game right now.
Absolutely. I agree.
And I don't think you have to do it without remortgaging your house, or without wasting years and years on expensive degrees.
Not playing Monopoly. You don't have to go to jail. You don't get stuck. You can go past go.
Fantastic. Now, lastly, Steve, if you could leave our audience with just maybe one thought or a piece of advice, what could it be?
Oh, gee, I always say to people, live your truth and live it well. And they may not realize the power of that, but it's really important to look at reality and the results you're getting. If you're not happy, you probably feel like you're living your truth, but honestly, are you really? Ask yourself that.
Wow. And the truth will always make you free, set you free, right? That in and of
you don't need to retire to be free. Your retirement will be the beginning of your new freedom. Find out who you are, and you can be free in any situation. Nelson Mandela can attest to that. A lot of people, have experienced that. You can be locked up for life and still have your freedom if you know who you are.
Oh, absolutely. You just mentioned my true hero there. 27 years locked up in prison. That's a whole lifetime. You
Yeah.
know, people actually get born and actually start a family by 27, and he hadn't seen the light of day. So, well, there you have it, folks. We all can't be Mandela at Robin Island, but you can actually get started with a game changer right there. And start getting a winning mindset and actually start using it powerfully. I think what Steve has in store for us is something remarkable. And not only will you just be going through the 8-week game changer, because that's just to give you the knowledge, but there's also an application phase where you actually go into 6 days of immersive engagement with other people who are on the same journey as you, and you're actually getting the true evidence that you too can be, do, and have a happier existence. Now, wouldn't that be nice? If you want to dive deeper into Steve's world and discover how you can actually unleash your own true potential, make sure, first of all, watch this episode again or share it with one of your mates so that at least you can get started on this game changer program together. You know, both you have tattoos saying mates forever, but you've not helped each other, change your lives, except going out and getting drunk together. What if you actually jump on and start getting a winning mindset so you can use it powerfully? And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe for more enlightening conversations like these. I mean, Steve has been here before. He's somewhat of a regular now, and he's going to be coming back later on, explaining the 6-day process. So just subscribe to the channel. You never know what might be popping up and how it could actually help you change the game. Now, Steve, thank you once again. I mean, first of all, for being who you are, and second of all, for respecting our platform enough to come for the very second time to really showcase us what it means to have and get a winning mindset.
You're welcome, Prosper. I always feel at home with you. You're an awesome presenter and podcaster. I trust myself in your hands, mate.
Fantastic. Well, we're changing the game in the podcast scene as well. So I really appreciate that remark, and I can't wait to see a lot of lives being changed. And I like the fact that you're doing it without having to remortgage their house or wasting years on expensive degrees that amount to nothing. So keep doing what you're doing, sir. You're doing your part in making this world a better place. So respect.
Yeah, and I don't mean to, this is a pun but, or a play on words, but I realize it is, but we can all prosper together.
You heard it from the man himself. Fantastic. Well, like I said, subscribe to the channel. These are all enlightening conversations like this. Until next time, as Steve says, keep prospering. Bye for now.